start off by saying a lot of it is inspired by stuff we talked about earlier with respect to our experience on IRC. I don't know how many of you were active back then.
Raise your hand if you weren't. You don't have relay chat user.
Nice.
That's pretty good. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if you're finding yourselves meeting new people online these days, but it feels like, especially with the modern social web, that it's much harder to actually get to know people and break the ice. If you've met offline, you connect on those networks. It works, but if you're actually trying to reach out and get to know someone new or expand your network, it's actually not really designed to facilitate that. And for us, having kind of built a friendship before we'd ever seen each other in person, and having a number of other relationships like that, we sort of wondered, you know, why that was missing and what it would take to actually do that well. Obviously, the chat roulette reference, we kind of both looked at that with interest and could talk about that more at length. But
I have spent the last 6 years, more than that now, I guess, since 2004, trying to figure out how to take your real-life social network, the people you know in person, and get those people as accurately represented as possible, and figure out once that's done, what do we do with it? And how do we leverage the set of connections that you have in real life to do interesting things? Whether those things are related to advertising or gaming or whatever, that had been the plan, and that was really one of the things that was missing from the early days of the internet. You can actually kind of look at almost every really successful company as something that the framers of the early internet, going back to the guys who wrote, TCP/IP and Bind and all the early internet protocols and set up, the ARPANET, DARPANET, all that kind of stuff. They left certain things out: authentication, identity, security. Those were largely overlooked. And were never widely deployed in the commercial internet. So much of what was being built was those things that had been left out. And the final piece of that puzzle, I think, was identity. Identity needed to get fixed. Now that identity's been addressed by Facebook and a zillion other companies, we're thinking about, what are all those things that the internet used to be good at, like helping you meet new people that you never otherwise would have met, really creating different types of community, and kind of returning to our roots in a sense, and doing that. It seems like there's this incredibly oppressive environment right now in the Valley where everyone's trying to do something around identity. And that's hugely validating to me, and it's wonderful to see everybody working on Facebook's platform. But I'm always hungry to do something that's sort of different and in some sense opposite from what the rest of the world is working on.
A good example of how this